Well, this long-distance lorry driver walked in his cafe on the M1. He said, I want a sausage, but burn the outside and undercook the inside. And the steak, burn it to a frazzle so I can't eat it. Some cold beans, and the egg, cook the white, leave the yolk. He said, I can't do that. He said, why not? You did it yesterday.
A fellow went to the doctor's. He said, hey, doctor, he said, I feel like a bell. The doctor said, you feel like a bell? He said, take these tablets. If you don't feel any better in the morning, give us a ring.
Thanks, George. Very nice, that. Size of him is in dressing room 17, 18 and 19. They're fat. Tell them that they're fat like that, isn't it? Shocking. His wife's the same. She went to the sauna bath and lost 4 stone in one morning. One of the machines ripped her leg off.
We're rude tonight, aren't we? Little boy says to his dad at dinner time, hey, Dad, can he eat caterpillars? He says, don't be so rude at dinner time, talking about things like that. Behave yourself. After dinner, he said, what's this about caterpillars? Little lad said, oh, it's all right, Dad, there was one on your lettuce, but it's gone now.
Have you had your holidays yet? My friend Di just come back from his holidays. He went to Blackpool. First person he met when he was walking down Blackpool was George Roper in his wellies. And he said, where's the best boozer in Blackpool? And George said, you're looking at him. He's walking down the promenade and a big tall fella, 6'8", tapped him on the shoulder. He said, can I walk along the front with you? He said, certainly, by all means. He hadn't gone 10 yards, he tapped me on the shoulder. He said, dude, you see that blonde in the bikini, papa there? He said, don't get excited, I saw the blonde in the bikini pass by there. 5 yards further on, he tapped him on the shoulder. He said, dude, you see the brunette in the tight sweater, papa pass by there? He said, don't get excited, I saw the brunette in the tight sweater pass by there. 5 yards further on, he tapped him on the shoulder. He said, did you see? He said, look. Don't bother, I seen it. He said, whoa, what do you want to step in it for then?
Amy Goldberg's telling his mate, he says, Morris, are you coming to Spain with the boys? We're going over to Spain. Nice holiday, he says. You love it over there, nice sunshine, lovely weather, nice food. Get creplet, loction, all the lot. He says, no, you're going by plane. He says, I wouldn't fly. I'm very unlucky, he says. Them planes, he says, they're always crashing. Every time you open a newspaper, a plane crashed. Not me, he says, I go by boat, I'll see you there. So he went by boat, and the boat sank. Plane hit it. Well, I went to see about his mate's funeral. He said, I've come to order a funeral. He said, how much? He said, well, we have a £1,000 job. He says, that's 14 horses, put in a gold coach with gold handles on the coffin, oak wood, leaded lined, 1,000 people, 1,000 mourners, weeping and wailing behind the... Oh, he said, it's a bit too much, that, he said. £1,000, he said. So, well, we have a £500 job, he said. 7 horses, put in a silver coach with silver handles and a pine box coffin. And 100 mourners weeping and wailing at the back. He said, it's still a bit too much, that. He said, how much have you got? He says, 15 quid. He said, well, we can accommodate you people. He says, oh, yes. We have a pit pony dragging handcart, he said. And we put the body in a sack. And we have a one-man band coming up behind, you know. Top hat on, blue shirt, yellow trousers, green shoes. Is there any weeping and wailing? He said, oh, no, we all have a bloody good laugh.
A new inmate arrived at the asylum, walked into the governor's office. The governor said, what's your name? He said, Lord Nelson. He said, oh, do me a favour. He said, what's your name? He said, Lord Nelson. He said, look, Lord Nelson is already here. What is your name? The fellow said, that man you have here is an imposter. I am Lord Nelson. So the governor said to his second in command, he said, look, put this fellow in with Lord Nelson for a week and let them sort it out among themselves. So a week later, he sent for this chap and he walked in his office and he said, well, are you still Lord Nelson? He said, no, I'm Lady Hamilton.
Oh, Jerry. There's two fellas in the jungle. And they come to a swamp, and one fellow said, I'm going in for a swim. He said, you can't swim there. He said, infested with crocodiles. He said, I'll swim. So he stripped off and he dived in. And he swam around. The crocodile came out and went, where? Shadunk. Went, wait. Another one goes, where? He goes, shadunk. Wait. And he got out and he was drying himself. He said, that was ridiculous. He said, that was ridiculous. He said, how did you get away with it? He said, it's easy, look at that. And on his arm was tattooed, Manchester City for the cup. He said, what bloody crocodile's going to swallow that?
Do you know I was in a pet shop last week? Funny things happen in pet shops. I don't know why. A fellow walks in behind me. And he walks up to the counter and he said to the fellow behind the counter in the pet shop, he said, have you got any of those? He was all the chat. He said, you know, when you go aloud, they go aloud. He said, have you got any? He said, have you got any? He said, have you got any papoos? He said, have you got any parrots? So the fellow behind the counter, he was perfectly all right. He said, fellow behind the counter said, well, what you said about he said, what? So the other fellow said, he said, have you got any of them? He said, you know, he said, we only go aloud. They go aloud. He said, pretty funny. He said, have you got any? He said, have you got any parrots? The other fellow thought he was taking a mick, so he said, he said, yes, we have. Dead quick. So the customer said, well, what are the, he said, what are they, he said, how much, he said, what are they, he said, what do you want your church, he said, how much? Each. So the other fella said, but those up there, he said, I love you, he said, those up there, he said, they're a pound each, those down there, they're half a quirk, they're half a quirk, he said, they're 15 new pence. So the other fellow said, well, how, what's the decent, what's the decent, what's the diff? He said, between, he said, they're a quirk, he said, they're half a quirk, he said, how come they're a quirk? He said, how come they're a pound and they're, he said, they're 10 bob? And the other fellow said, the other fellow said, well, those up there, they're on her, he said, they're on higher purchase. So the other fella said, well, can the parrot talk? And the parrot looked down and said, Ruddy, it's not better than you two guys.
Wonderful places, isn't it? Really make you feel at home here. No colour prejudice here. In fact, they've got a Pakistani clothing attendant here called Mahatma Coat.
It's nice to be here. I've been visiting Charlie Williams in hospital. He's in hospital, you know. Charlie's in hospital. It's true. He's off colour. He is. He's bad. I went in to see him. I did. I went to see him. And there was one fella struggling in. He pulled him in and he said, I'm all right. Nothing wrong. He said, you're coming in a stretcher. Took him to the bed. And there was nothing wrong with him. He got the wrong fella. The crackers, I'm telling you. This is what's going on. We're paying all this money on the national health. They don't know what to do with. So as soon as the bloke went out the room, he jumped out the bed, got his clothes on, he's going down the stairs, fell down the stairs, broke his leg. So they put him back, because he was bad then, he had a bad leg. And he said, the complications, he said, you'll have to have your leg off. All right. Anaesthetic, took his leg off. Came to see him the next day, he said, we've got some terrible news for you. He said, we've got some good news, but we've got some bad news. He said, well, let's have the bad news first. He said, well, we've took the wrong leg off. He said, but the good news, he said, the other one's getting better.
Sends the diagnosis, you see. So he goes in, he says, my mum said, can she have a can of beans? She wants a can of beans. My mum. He said, for your mother, anything. For your father, nothing. So out he goes, and half an hour later comes back, he said, lost a tin opener. My mum's lost a tin opener. Will you open the beans? He said, for your mother, anything. For your father, nothing. So he opened the beans and he handed them back. He said, my dad said, can he have 5 woodbines or we don't want the beans?
I'll tell you where I came up from Jersey 2 or 3 days ago. Marvellous, nice place. And you get to Heathrow Airport. Beautiful place. You get some lovely laughs. In the departure lounge at Heathrow Airport, you get sounds that go like this. They say,
Alitalia announced the departure of their flight to Athens.
just like him, isn't it? I could pick my nose at me, you wouldn't know. Sorry, no.
Alitalia announced I've done that, to Athens, calling at Gibraltar, Malta, Wigger.
You don't do that.
And then they say, the plane for New York will leave at 17:50 hours, and the plane for Bermuda at 15:22 hours.
And just then there's 2 little Irish guys. One says, Patrick, what time do you think we're going to land in Dublin?
And the voice said, Aer Lingus announced the departure of their flight to Dublin, which will leave when the big hand is at 7.
Hey, and I was in court the other day as well, you know, and the judge said, what happened? I said I was cleaning this lady's bedroom windows, and he said, go on. And I said, this lady came in the bedroom with a pair of thingies on, so he said, go on. And I said, this fella come in with his what's-its on, so he said, go on. And I said, they were dashing around the bedroom that fast I couldn't tell what was going on. And he said, are you going to tell us what happened? I said, I don't know. He said, why don't you know? I said, my ladder broke. He said, the ladder broke, how did that happen? I said, well, there were 17 of us on it. The judge was dead, man. He said to this fella, I'm sending you down for 15 years. He said, I can't do that. He said, do what you can then. Don't they get upset?
I'm on in court and waiting my turn. There were 3 cross-eyed fellas in front of me. 3 cross-eyed fellas in front of a cross-eyed judge. And the cross-eyed judge looks at the first cross-eyed fella. He said, what's your name? The second fella says, Smith. He said, I wasn't talking to you. And the third one said, I never said a word.
Stood there, and this fellow walks up to the bartender, you see. He said, find a minute when you have a name, please. And the bartender said, certainly, sir. He looked at me, hey, come here, Martin, man. take a mickey out of me, eh? The bartender said, no, he said, I speak like that. I said, no. Just then another fellow walked in and said, I'll have a large Scotch with dry ginger, please. And the bartender said, of course you can, sir. He said, hey! Come here, Lockie. Come here. I thought you said you were taking a mickey out of me. The bartender said, I'm not, I'm taking a mickey out of him over there.
Like animal style, I love animals. There's a lion, you see, walking through the jungle. And he comes across a little mahunky. And he said, Mahunky, who's the king of the jungle? And the mahunky said, you heart lion. And he knocked the hell out of the mahunky. He said, don't you forget it either. The third line, he came to a zebra. He said, zebra, who's the king of the jungle? And the zebra said, you heart lion. And he tore the jammers off it. Don't you forget it either. Third line, he came to an elephant. He said, Elephant, who's the king of the jungle? And the elephant picked him up, wrapped him round half a dozen trees, and threw him in the middle of this square hob. And the lion staggered out of this square hob, went up to the elephant and said, there's no need to lose your temper if you don't know the answer.
Don't mind me telling you a few jokes, do you? Eh? Don't mind, do you? No, I know you wouldn't. Because us just good Catholics here, you know. Every Sunday we always go to church in Liverpool. And on one side of the street in Liverpool there's a synagogue. That's where they have the gambling casinos. On the other side is the Catholic church. And every Sunday morning these two Jewish boys used to watch the left footers going in. One said, hey, he must be making a packet. Nip in and see what's going on. So we nipped into church with all the left footers. Half an hour. He said, hey, they're making a bomb. He said, why? He said, well, the priest gets up on the altar and he starts singing to the audience. I can beat you at dominoes. He said, what happens then? He said, the audience answer back. Oh, no. We can beat you at dominoes. So what happens then? He said, the priest gets up for the second time. Oh, no. I can beat you at dominoes. He said, all of a sudden, he said, 3 blokes get up with plates and start collecting bets.
Well, I went to the doctor. He said, give me some strychnine or arsenic. He said, anything. He said, I want to see the wife. I said, I'm sick of it. Couldn't stand another day with her. He said, no, you don't need to do it that way, Charlie. Make love to her any time you can. Morning, noon and night. Make love. She'll be dead in 9 months. He said, are you sure? He said, I'm telling you. Any time you can, make mad, passionate love. Every minute of the day if you can. He said, I'll try it. 3 months later, he's going through the park. He sees this fella in a wheelchair, all drawn and haggard. He said, how are you going on, Charlie? He says, oh. Oh. I'm not so bad. He said, how's the wife? He said, she's over there playing tennis. He said, she looks fit, Charlie. He says, aye, he says. She doesn't know she's only 6 months to live.